Welcome back. Graft and corruption, the diabolical challenges ahead. Right here on Helo Malaysia. We're back with you, Tan Sri and Terence, in the studio. We were speaking about the political will. You mentioned about your 5-point plan.
5 committees that we have been in, we are still around. And then our job is very simple, to really find a way, work together and promote MACC, and then so that we can invite people to fight graft together with us. Dato' Abu Qasim should be very privileged tonight, because he's saying the same thing. I also saying the same thing, because we believe he must be given the time, he must be given the chance, he must be given all the support to do and plan what he wants to do. Now he has shown us, he has improved the public media management. He has also agreed to, from time to time, periodically, to exchange view, to tell the whole world this is not selective investigation or prosecution. Maybe we have also investigated Barisan or Pakatan, whatever it is. This is all in the pipeline. And then he is also prepared to even conduct media conference drama with all the media people as and when is doing. Sure. He in fact has engaged a media consultant to improve the image. So these are the things that he has shown. At least we say, give this man a chance to prove.
Fine, but you see, we're looking at the local independent pollster, Merdeka Center. They showed that 74% of citizens here were not satisfied with the way the government was dealing with fighting graft. Don't go too far. Just take just travel to Seberang to our good friends in Indonesia. A survey was carried out in Indonesia that showed 79% of its population satisfied with its government tactics to combat corruption. We would also like to highlight and specially mention that our neighbors down south have got a very impeccable record. It is not about comparison, but we're looking at how far and how fast and how effective. What are your views on that, Terence?
I would like to just go back to what we were talking about, Dato' Abu Qasim engaging the public and all that, and the perception of our neighbors. I mean, let's address the perception of our own people first.
Sure.
Talk is cheap. Action speaks louder than words. Okay, like I said, I fully endorse Dato' Abu Qasim. All right, but he needs to get back the trust of, he needs to help MACC regain the trust of the public, and the only way he can do it is by going for the big fish, going for the ikan jerung.
Real performance.
Real performance. Now the question is, does he have the mandate to do that? Is there a fear that if he were to go after this big fish, would it be politically disadvantageous to certain personalities? That is the question to ask. And if the answer is yes, and he does not have the mandate, then we can reinvent MACC, reinvent the wheel in many lifetimes. Tan Sri, out of respect, I have a lot of respect for you.
Thank you, sir.
I don't mean to be distasteful. You're 70 years old, but I doubt we will see the kind of changes that we want to see in your lifetime. And
another 2 more years,
don't say that, but perhaps towards the end of my life,
sure.
Perhaps. Okay. Yes, Abu Qasim needs a lot of support.
Sure. I think we're looking at this
from top down.
This agenda.
Top down,
it has to be the Malaysian agenda.
Sure.
It is just not a shock scenery exercise.
Sure.
A lot of people say, hey, why on earth are you guys having this topic in the first place? Is it just
Sure.
an exhibition of sorts? But Tan Sri, let's get down to the nitty gritty. You've been very vocal. You've been spoken a lot about corruption in your capacity, and also in your capacity as chairman of Social Care Foundation. Where do we go from here? We keep harboring on the issue, corruption this, corruption that, shock scenery this and that. But where do we move?
I think he has reached a stage, especially from now onwards, when Abu Qasim was given openly the pledge and the thing that he would like to do, and also touching on whether there will be some political will can be done or not. It leads me to believe whether we should ask this question, whether is there going to be any invisible hand trying to stop him from doing anything. That matters most. But he has said, so far nobody has interfered him, not even PM, has instructed him, no so far. But what is so far? We do not know what is next. But of course we pray. You're going to do a real job, you should not be disturbed unduly. That's what we want. If the committee peoples, so many, have earned their sort of status, if they think they cannot even participate and carry on to ensure politically it has been seen to be done to eradicate corruption, I think it's going to be a very tough time for us to continue.
Okay. You said a very, very strong statement. You've raised a very large issue.
Sure.
But don't you think when the giving stops, the taking will also stop? Do we see a correlation with that?
Of course, the giver is just as guilty as the taker. So I agree with you and the argument that everybody should be involved. It is a fight, not for just Tan Sri or myself or you, Edward, or people in the press. It's for everyone. I have had people come to the office and say that they didn't approve my house extension, although I've paid them. These kind of fellows come to the office, they get chased out. Kita maki hamun dia and then we chase them out.
Sure.
You are just as guilty as the council of officer.
Dah bagi lepas tu kerja tak buat.
Kerja tak buat, you deserve it lah.
Sure. Right.
You see, and I think the giver should be just as should the full strength of the law should come down on the giver as much as the taker. Sure. Now, talking about what we need to do. Back to the high profile cases. The Malaysian public is not interested in the district officer who took 50,000. Okay, and I find it distasteful that someone like the DG of Tourism, Datuk Mirza, he has hundreds of thousands and millions, which he has approved, and I did some background check, and I know that he is from a wealthy family. That he gets slapped for not paying a dental bill for 13,000 ringgit. We are not interested in all this. We are interested in the big fish. Okay, the people at the top.
Well, a lot of cases have grabbed the highlight, Terence, Tan Sri, but sometimes for the wrong reason. Perhaps you care to share with us, where do we, it's about digging for a needle in a haystack, trying to find a solution. Okay, we talk about graft, we talk about corruption. Meanwhile, our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Najib, last year announced an impressive raft of liberalization measures since to woo back investors. But many agent provocateurs and doomsday merchants are openly stating that his efforts may be, going down the drain if no steps are taken to stamp out corruption. That's, this is what the fund managers are saying. Okay, we'll come and invest. Goldman Sachs came in with an investment. But share with us, Tan Sri.
Okay.
Let's take this to a higher level now.
This is a very serious question. For example, Dato' Abu Qasim has assumed the post. He is alone. If the group MACC officer will never make it a point to change the mentality set, their approaches in a lifetime for a betterment to be led by Abu Qasim, is going to make things very difficult for Abu Qasim. Yep. He needs the support. He needs the change because he is addressing everyday things changes.
It's a very huge weight that you've put on the shoulders of Dato' Abu Qasim. Okay. One man alone cannot possibly carry out this.
Right.
He needs more than political will. He needs the support of the Rakyat. Right. But in your role, your advisor, how do we see moving from strength to strength? We need to get from A to B first before you want to go from A to C.
Yes. So the political will and the instruction must be clear, very clear to Dato' Abu Qasim. Dato' Abu Qasim has to be make it very clear to their staff. If you do not perform, if you cannot do it, I'm sorry, you may have to go. You must set a good example, because otherwise, what's the point of keeping someone who are moving? But what's the point when someone really can move and yet you don't encourage them to move? A real revamp is going to be a very big challenge for Abu Qasim.
Sure.
If you do not allow this thing to take place, I agree with you. I'm already 70 lah.
Sure, maybe we're not seeing it in your lifetime. Sorry to put that in a very, very, tough manner. But Terence, take it from there.
Yes, he has a pertinent point. Has a big weight on